going to be banned out second phase anyways, and this draft so far from VG Gaming leaves so much open. You can have both heroes as offlane core, mid support.
You can, but drafting, I mean, the only thing I see is that Clockwork is a natural counter shaker. It's one of the best heroes to have.
Lina as well.
Yeah.
And to Lina, yeah.
I like the Clockwork pick, though, instead of the Spirit Breaker. Spirit Breaker is just much less reliable than a Clockwork, and you can control your lane a lot better.
Yeah, it just depends how lucky you get.
Darkseer pick is, or ban is, I would say imperative versus Vici.
And second, and on the other side, second respect ban against the QOSTA.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Fun to watch.
It's, yeah, it's really, really fun. Entertaining.
Yeah, we still have both Shadow Fiend and Queen of Pain in the pool.
It doesn't seem like either team really likes Queen. I think it'll be like later, much later in the phase if we see it picked up. It was decent last game, but she didn't take control of the game like a Queen of Pain generally would have in that sort of situation. I don't necessarily think it was his fault though.
I think a lot of teams are misunderstanding, or at least like the first team to actually run Queen of Pain was Secret, Queen of Pain safe lane. It was them, they abused it. But why they picked it mostly is because when you have that Queen of Pain, it's a defensive pick in the sense that you can't really go for moves, you can't really dominate mid lane because you know that whatever happens, the Queen is just going to port in and can join any fight very fast with a lot of burst damage and turn. It's counter initiation. And when they had SF mid, it's a way to secure the SF's game, you know, make sure he gets ahead of everyone and just go for that push. In that game, I felt like they wanted to be very aggressive, but the Queen of Pain versus a lot of nukes early on, it's quite scary to blink in versus, you know, Lina with duels, Rubik Maiden, a lot of disables, a lot of burst. So they just take him down every time.
And at sometimes you wouldn't feel that there's actually a Queen of Pain on VG Gaming because he's been stealing the wave way too often, I feel.
Oh yeah, that move on the slug was very crucial. We see a PL ban once again, so it's been twice now. And the Darkseer was not banned, I think, in the first game. I don't recall the Darkseer ban because they first
was
Clockwork.
First game.
Okay.
I mean, they at that point already VG Gaming had the Clockwork and we already had the Spirit Breaker on the side of MVP Phoenix. They did have last ban Luna last game. Is still in the pool. I think if VG Gaming in this case most likely wants to pick up Luna, should be one of these two picks. Although against the Clockwork is not ideal.
Yeah, Luna against Clockwork. When Clockwork gets an early good start, without a BKB you can't cast any of your spell. You can't cast your Eclipse and your Beam as well. So it's kind of a good way of dealing with the Luna early on. And as a Luna player, I know most of the players there don't really like to go for early BKB. You want to go for a farming item first.
Yeah, and I think when Hao plays Luna, he likes to go for Drum Tequila and just start fighting straight away as well. Not really wanting to take time to farm up that BKB before doing anything. MVP Phoenix sticking into their bonus time already, quite heavily.
I'm actually thinking whether they want to go for like a Shadow Fiend against what Vici have, because it's one of the heroes that Kyo is really good at. You were talking about TA, since there's no TA, the other two replacements would be either the Shadow Fiend or the Storm.
Definitely, the Storm would be an option. They have a lot of disables, but it's also a good hero to just go and find that Shaker in the fights and make sure. I think the Clockwork is already going to cause a lot of issues to the Shaker. Do you think it's a Shaker offlane? Because we've seen it, we've seen both Shaker support for Vici and Shaker offlane.
I think it's far more likely Shaker support at this moment. Yeah, I like the Shadow Fiend and the Storm, but at the same time, it's just going to invite a anti-mate pick from Vici.
And they went for the co-op again.
Is there a chance that we're still going to see another Slark on MVP Phoenix? Or?
It's a good hero to have. I mean, it's always a good hero to have versus, you know, stunners. But in that case, I think Shaker, it's quite scary to play Slark into Shaker Dina. I think it's a lot of control and a lot of burst damage.
I think it's not the stuns that's the biggest issue, it's like AoE damage.
Yeah.
Slug struggles against that.
If you want to play Slug versus this, you need to get a BKB.
Yes.
You have to.
He can't really go for the build like the last game. He can't be too greedy if they were to go for the Slug once more this game.
Because he had a good game, and yeah, going for the Skadi build.
Oh, there's still Brute.
It's the greedy build.
Oh yeah, there's still Brute actually for Vici Gaming. And Witch Doctor is not a good support at dealing with Brute at all.
No. at the moment they don't really have that much to deal with the Brood, so Ice if he gets his hands on that. And there's another FY Rubik.
I mean, this is kind of expected, right? You don't ban it out in the second phase.
Yeah.
Vichy has, I think, almost all the games we've seen FY on Rubik during the main stage.
Siren.
That is quite interesting because it's hard to tell if it's going to be a core or a support Naga. I think it's a bit early to call.
They run core a lot.
I think it's probably more or less core, I feel, because MVP Phoenix have been known to actually run. I mean, they're a Southeast Asian team, and most of the Southeast Asian teams would prefer to run her as a core.
Then my question is, if it is a core, why would you reveal the Naga already? Because it hasn't been banned last series, and they went for the same type of draft, like aggressive draft that doesn't fit at all another core.
I think it's because it's uncertain, right? It's easy for us to say, but
they're ready to switch it up.
Yeah, for them, maybe they are feeling we can still switch it up.
Okay.
And what's Vichy going to look for? If they want the Brood, do you think it's still the game for the Brood right now?
Sort of. If it creates space for the last pick, I could see a Brood working. If it is the core of the lineup, I don't think it fits so well.
The biggest problem with that is you might have trouble pushing high ground.
Yeah, definitely.
With the Brood, like Lina or Shaker Rubik, not your best high ground sieging lineup. And you want to end the game early versus Naga. You have to.
Yep.
Rubik actually 100% win rate so far still. One of the only ones left. 8-0.
So it is indeed the Brood Mother. I feel like picking the Brood Mother sort of forces them to not run a Naga core.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to run a Naga core now. I mean, it's possible still, but it's very risky. But what other options do they have against Brood right now as a carry hero? If they run an X Queen of Pain lineup, I mean, the lineup doesn't feel that strong, and
no, it really doesn't.
Vichy has the last pick, so they can actually just pick something that's really good late game.
Yeah, it's pretty tough because neither Co-op or Clockwork really matches well versus the Brood Mother in a 1-versus-1 situation. Even if you have sentries as Co-op, you can probably hold the lane first levels, but then at some point it gets harder. A Brood is going to get a lot of space.
Yep. I think it has to be Naga core. I mean, if they draft another like a core and put Naga on support, their late game is just going to be super weak, and they're still going to have trouble.
Yeah,
the Brood
I agree as well. So
yeah.
They need a support that can actually deal with the Brood, a support that has AoE, like can clear the spiderlings. So far, I'm thinking Sand King, but their lineup seems weak with Sand King as well. It has synergy with the song, but I'm not sure how well it will work.
They could go for the Spirit Breaker again if they like it on position 4. It's a decent hero to have versus Brood as well.
Safe lane Storm maybe, but I mean then, I mean all their
options are just like
they're pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's not exactly good, but it's like we are trying to find a solution.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to find a hero that salvages that draft completely, but I feel like with the Naga core they might get overrun early game. It's definitely their best late game option, but it's a bit scary. You're facing Brood Shaker. You can never assess that the Brood's gonna be by himself, and there's always that Shaker that stays behind with the Fisher or something like this. It's very hard to fight into.
Well, it looks like Vichy is expecting to be a core to still be picked up as they ban out the Bloodseeker.
Dazzle.
Oh, there's the dazzle.
Okay, so we were actually right about it. It's going to be a Naga core coming from Phoenix. Dazzle plus Witch Doctor. I kind of feel like the Brood Mother has a very good chance of just overrunning this lane when she gets her levels.
I think it's a very, very risky pick. Dazzle, obviously, a lot of synergy with the Naga, has laning potential at killing heroes, but against Brood, it's different.
I mean, if Brood is successful at gaining her levels, I think she can actually just destroy the lane.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the backup of a Shaker, Lina with the port, just whatever backup he gets from his teammates, and they're gonna completely destroy the safe lane of MVP Phoenix. And we also get a Co-op versus Lina matchup. That's not the best matchup at all.
Storm Spirit.
That's probably a Storm safe lane.
Yeah, I think this is going to be on How as well. I agree with you.
Tough game for MVP Phoenix. That's how I see it.
Okay, draft is over. It's time for game time in game number 2 as we head back down to the arena with Toby 1 and Synderen.
Thank you very much. Yes, let's welcome it back for game number 2. VG Gaming versus MVP. The draft is done, Sind, and it looks like VG Gaming are in a very comfortable position.
This Brood is going to be a really, really big problem the moment MVP picked the Naga, I was like, okay, they're picking Brood. They actually took a lot of time to do it. I'm not sure if they were considering alternatives or if they just forgot about the Brood themselves and they were like, wait, we could get Brood, and they just immediately went for it. But this is the kind of game, just like, I can't remember if it was Winter or Matt who said it, but this is the game where Brood can just completely take over the game. If they do not shut down Ice here, this could end up being a very one-sided game, which would, of course, be a big shame. The last game was pretty close and very exciting. Generally, Brood has a tendency to sometimes just run over games and other games be fairly weak. I feel like it's pretty rare you see a Brood mother be like, okay. You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting to see here. Now, that said, if MVP get off to a good laning stage and they get a farmed Naga, I don't see VG having very good counters to the split push of the Naga either. They have the Storm that can pick her off, but if you just keep sending farmed illusions out, they don't have the best illusion clearing heroes. So that's the win condition for MVP. They have to go super late.
Let's see if they can do it. For me, I'm questioning if it is going to be possible on this bot lane. These 2 sentry wards which have been brought down by the Dazzle are going to be needed to keep Broodmother out, but it's Ice's Broodmother. He's got so much experience with his hero, and he sees things coming from a mile away, putting the webs over the jungle, and his micro is fantastic on the Spiderlings. He'll always see when an MVP player will rotate down. I'm very skeptical to see if Naga is capable of finding that farm, and then what farm does she go? Like, is this one of these games where you say, I need to have a Radiant split push? Is that what you have to look for from this core Naga?
Yeah. The question is how many build-up items he goes. These days, when you play Core Naga, you very, very rarely see Core Naga played without Radiance. It is possible to do a combat build with Man's Diffusal, but I would not advise it in this game. Most of the time we see Bottle, Aquila, or one of those two, and then into, I think a new trend has been getting Arcane Boots, because you can disassemble it later into Octarine Core. So maybe that build-up for
super
could be a thing.
Take more aggression, but QO actually locked in here. He doesn't have a blink to get out of this one. And now, running around the corners, the first blood, it goes the way of Super. The Paralyzing Cast gave MVP more confidence to go on Super, because it bounced straight back up to the leaner and not to the creep wave, and that is not the start MVP needed. You have just given levels